Fatima from Astro Awan, reporting live outside the Kuala Lumpur High Court. A major tax appeal is wrapping up inside right now. IRBM versus the retail giant Watsons. Here is a quick recap of the background. Watsons borrow over 36 million USD from its sister company Watson Labuan to buy shares in Watson Malaysia. They pay an interest rate of LIBOR plus 3%, and the loan agreement stated that the money could be called back whenever the lender demanded it. However, the dispute started when IRBM did a transfer pricing risk review using Section 148 of the Income Tax Act 1967. IRBM claimed this was not an arm's length deal. They completely blocked the interest deduction for years of assessment from 2010 to 2012, hitting Watsons with an extra of 4.4 million ringgit. As the tax authority, IRBM's role was to audit the transaction, issue the additional assessment, and now defend their position in front of the judge. Let's go inside the courtroom to see how it went down.
We are here today to hear civil appeal number WA 14-26/2020 between the General of Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia IRBM v. Watsons Personal Care Stores Holding Limited. This is the appeal by IRBM against the Special Commissioner's decision, which originally ruled in favour of Watsons. Ms. NURIN, please state your case.
Thank you, Your Lordship. There are two main issues here. First, whether Section 140A allows RIBM to disallow the interest as funds completely. Second, whether we can legally change their interest rate to 0% because they didn't provide a proper independent comparison. No independent business would ever agree to a massive loan where the lender can demand repayment at any single moment. Because it lacks proper repayment terms, it violates Article 9 of the Model Tax Convention. Therefore, the correct arm's length rate should be 0%.
With respect, Your Lordship, that is completely wrong. Back in 2013, my client hired PwC to prepare full transfer pricing documentation. We compare our LIBOR plus 3% rate against commercial-based lending rates in Malaysia at the time. Our rate actually came out lower than what local banks were charging, meaning it wasn't excessive at all.
But the company never showed us a direct comparison with an independent party in identical transaction, which is required under Rule 6 of the Transfer Pricing Rules.
But IRBM never gave us a counter report or a proper economic analysis either. Your Lordship, IRBM based their entire adjustment on a generic article from Investopedia about loan defaults. That has nothing to do with real market interest rate at the time.
Let me clear something up. Section 140A lets the Director General adjust a price to reflect arm's and length terms. It does not let you erase the whole transaction from existence. Rule 8, subsection 2 explicitly says that if a structure is disregarded, an adjustment must still be made based on what independent parties would have done. Ms. NURIN, where is the proof for choosing 0%?
Your Lordship, our stance is that without fixed repayment terms, 0 is the most logical way.
That is a guess, not an evidence-based adjustment. Clause 3 of their agreement lets the lender demand money anytime. That is actually standard practice for uncommitted bank facilities. This case is highly significant from an audit and compliance standpoint. It tests whether RIBM can shift the entire burden of proof onto a taxpayer who already comply with the rules, without the tax authority doing any real market analysis of its own. Based on the evidence, the Special Commission made no legal error. Applying the established test from Edwards v. Bairstow, this court will only step in the lower tribunal decision was the completely unreasonable. And it wasn't. Watson proved their transfer pricing documentation fully comply with the 2012 guidelines. RIBM, on the other hand, failed to produce any counter report or risk analysis to back up their claims. As established in legal precedents like AHMAD, the tax authority cannot base an assessment on pure assumption. Therefore, RIBM's appeal is dismissed with cost of RM 7,000. This decision upholds the core goal of Malaysian tax law ensuring certainty and fairness for taxpayers who act in good faith while keeping the revenue's power in check. Court is adjourned.
Breaking news. The High Court has officially ruled in favour of Watsons. Let's get some quick thoughts from both sides on how this impacts tax practice.
Ms. NURIN, how will this outcome change of how RIBM handles audits and investigation moving forward?
Honestly, it is a big wake-up call. For us, this case proved that any future adjustment under Section 140A must be backed by our own solid transfer pricing report. So not just a quick online search. This will definitely change how we investigate related party loans and cross-border payments between associated companies.
Ms. ADRIANA, why did having good records matter so much today?
Because it completely flipped the burden of proof. Once we handed over our compliant, contemporaneous documentation, the court expected IRBM to disprove it with real data, and they couldn't. Good records are your best shield in an audit.
What is your advice to other companies to keep them out of legal trouble?
There are 3 simple things, which is prepare your transfer pricing documents before doing the transaction. Get trusted professional advice like we did with PwC. And be completely transparent when IRBM asks questions. Also, keep in mind that under current rules, you only have 14 days to submit your documents if requested. Speed and preparation are everything.
What about your opinion?
I agree. Good tax governance isn't just about avoiding penalties. Practicing good work ethics and being transparent build trust between businesses and IRBM. That trust is what keeps our self-assessment system running smoothly.
What are the risks if companies decide to out of corners?
Legally, they face expensive court battles and penalties under Section 113, Subsection 2. Ethically, it destroyed their reputation with investors and the public, which end up costing far more than actual tax bill.
Speaking of penalties, Watson didn't have to pay any penalty here, right?
Yes, correct. The court waived the penalty because Watson acted in good faith, hired reputable advisors, and disclosed everything. Section 113, Subsection 2 is meant to punish deliberate cheating, not honest mistakes.
That is the rated away. Integrity pays off. Document your price, get professional help, and stay transparent. That's how you protect your business. That's what's up of our live coverage of RIBM versus Watsons. Back to the studio.